And our panelist, Shri Rajesh Nilkant Shinde, Executive Director Technical, Airports Authority of India, Mr. Vikram Kandotra, President IMA, and Mr. Prashun Pandey, Manager CLASP. Thank you, everyone. So now for the context setting presentation, I would like to invite Mr. Paras Bhattarai. Over to you, Paras.
Thank you, Ranjana. Can you present the screen here? No. Hi, good morning, everyone. I am Paras Bhattarai, Senior Research Associate at AEEE, and the insights that I'm presenting here is from our collaboration with Airport Authority of India, that is enhancing the energy efficiency of Indian airport terminal buildings. So when we talk about the aviation sector, India is the third largest aviation market after US and China. And currently in last financial year, we have seen around like the passenger of 400 million, and this passenger is expected to increase by around 660 million by 2030. And when we see such a huge growth ahead, the challenge that comes along is the challenge of the decarbonization. And Ministry of Civil Aviation is among the pioneer in this context. There is already a net zero target for the aviation sector of by 2050 of reaching the net zero target. There is also the roadmap is there for the net zero targets combined with the integration of renewable and the energy efficiency. And AEEE aims to support this mission through this philosophy of lean, mean and green, where it aims to promote the energy efficiency along with the renewables for the decarbonization journey. And Airport Authority of India, which manages more than 100 airports in India, it is already leading these initiatives, and around 74 airports are operating at 100% renewable as of now. Our work with Airport Authority of India is built upon a MOU that was signed in 2022. This MOU between AI and AEEE aims to work on doing the energy and emission benchmarking, and also helps the Airport Authority of India toward the decarbonization of the built environment. And the first product of this collaboration was the Sugam booklet that was launched by Sri Jyotiraditya Scindia ji, former Minister of Civil Aviation, in 2023. Recently in 2025, the second edition of Sugam booklet that includes the analysis of the private as well as the AI managed airport and cover around 130 airports in India was launched. This booklets provide the information on the energy consumption analysis and the energy and emission benchmarking. This also includes the analysis on the capacity utilization of airport, the renewable energy implementation at airport, and also the best practices that are being implemented by the different airports in India. With this, in the energy and the emission benchmarking, we did the analysis to analyze the energy and emissions with respect to some parameters. For example, the number of passengers. So what is the consumption per passenger? What is the consumption per aircraft movement? There were more parameters also available in the report that focus on the parameter or like consumption per meter square area. While this is the snapshot of the analysis, the main insights that I want to highlight here is when we see the emission intensity of the passenger traffic. So the black line that you can see is the average emission intensity at the India level, and the green line that you can see is the emission intensity of different airports. While some airports have the lower energy intensity and the emission intensity, there are also few airports which are a bit on the higher side. Saying that there are already many airports, for example, Delhi Airport, Bangalore Airport, Hyderabad, and also Cochin Airport, which has performed significantly well and have reduced their emission by to a great extent. But when we see this graph, there is a pattern there. While some airports are performing well, some are the bit on the higher side. So, and there remains a scope for implementing the energy efficiencies, which AI is already doing to a lot of extent, is there. But when we talk about the airport, it's a huge place with the different systems operating around the hours 24/7. There is the gates, then there is the luggage check-ins, there is the the HVAC that's working around the hours. So when we try to divide all the areas in the airports, we can divide them into three major categories: of the air side, where the airplanes take the run off. Second is the terminal side, where there is a huge consumption of ACs to provide the convenience and the comfort to users. It also includes the system like baggage handling as well. And then there is the outer or the building infrastructure as well. And we see that there is a scope to make all these three the components efficient. So with that, there is a compendium that we have developed that try to divide the different efficiency measures that can be implemented based on the time that is required. For example, there are some efficient technologies that are the low-hanging fruits. 1 to 3 years the time that they would require. Then there are the second phase where the technology require a bit longer time, and the savings that can be generated through the phase 1 can be the reinvested here. And then there are the technologies which require a very larger horizon. For example, sustainable aviation fuel is there. So it require a large infrastructure for the productions and then the storage as well. So, and the table here summarize these technologies based on the phase and the payback period as well. So we see the fixed electric ground power, which provides the electricity to the airplane when it's not flying directly through the electricity instead of it using the diesels, right? Then there is the thermal storage, radiant cooling system, automated baggage handling systems, which generally reduce the check-in times and also optimize the power consumption as well. And at this stage, I am also happy to announce that this report is now made available for the public reading. And I will also request all my speaker here to come forward and release this report, as well as I would like to invite my mentor and my senior Sumedh Agrawal here for the launching of the report. Dr. Satish, over to you for the moderation.
Thanks, Paras, for providing a quick overview of the work that AEEE has been doing with the Airport Authority of India. And I would like to thank Mr. Sinde. He is the Executive Director Technical from Airport Authority of India. And we have worked with him and I think his team for close to 3 years now. And we would go into some of the details of, I think, our experiences. Vikram Kandotra, my friend for the longest period of time and leading a very, very important sort of organization, AIMA, as president of AIMA. And I know that how much I think he's carrying the entire electrical and electronics industry's load on his shoulder. I think even he's speaking with the government and others. So welcome, and Prasoon. I think he's a manager with CLASP, a very, very close collaborator, I think, with Alliance for Energy Efficient Economy. And CLASP is also very well known for some amazing work that it does in the field of energy efficiency policies, especially standards and labeling and carbon markets and many other things. So welcome all of you, I think, to this panel. What I would do is that, of course, the title of the presentation is there on the screen, Making Every Watt Work Across Enterprise Scale Operations. So I think this whole topic of enterprise energy management is something that is very, very close to my heart. And, and what we are going to talk about is that in an era where more digitalization, more automation, more electrification, I think all these, powerful forces are at work, and where everybody is looking for data and everybody is wanting to quantify, I think, in terms of indicators and metrics, that how organizations are performing. So within that context, what's the role of, I think, these enterprise energy management systems, what the role they play? And of course, AI, sort of like when we were doing this report, and we have published some papers as well. So what we have found that, I think, at the enterprise level, what Airport Authority of India has done is really unparalleled in the world, because no other country has kind of done this kind of energy, end-use energy and emissions benchmarking for all the airports in one country. And we have presented it at ASHRAE conference, and there is a journal publication that is also in the works. So this is very, very unique work, I think, in terms of what is happening. So Airport Authority of India would get, I think, bring their perspective, I think, from both, I think, how this benchmarking exercise is helping them advance the agenda of the decarbonization goal that Paras talked about by 2050. And also, I think, what are some of the technologies that you are sort of adopting at a fast scale, which is helping you move forward. So maybe I'll start with you, Mr. Shinde. That when, as the Executive Director Technical, who is responsible for driving sort of like efficiency, decarbonization, renewable energy adoption, I think, across the all the airports in India, what are some of the technologies, I think, and when I'm talking technologies, I think Paras just flashed, I think, some of these technologies, but I am also looking from both hardware technology as well as the software platforms that sometimes allow you to actually do these kind of benchmark. Would you be kind enough to share, I think, your thoughts on how AI has gone through this process, and what are some of the technologies that AI has adopted or is planning to adopt, I think, in the near future as you embark on this journey and intensify this journey?
Thank you. When we talk about efficiency in the national context, it means basically minimum use of skilled manpower, money, time, resources, and energy to get maximum output in terms of, say, product, services, or any infrastructural development. So when we talk about the energy efficiency and carbon footprints, definitely Airports Authority of India is having a target of reduction in class 1, class 2 emissions of our major airports by 2030, followed by for all the operational airports up to 2040, and net zero by 2050. So in this endeavor, basically we are emphasizing on class 2 emissions which are from because of the electricity used from the grid. So alternatives are, see, we have a solarization system. So far, we have installed around 59 megawatt on-site solar plants, and additional 8 megawatt works are going on. In addition to this, under Prime Minister PM Suryaghar Yojana, Bijli Yojana, we are going to solarize the maximum our civil aviation buildings rooftops to saturate them with the solarization, and we will be generating around additional around 1.56 megawatt by the end of this June. But what constraint we are facing is, though we have a land, but entire land cannot be used for solarization purpose, because our main aim of the department is aviation, not the energy generation. And the second thing is, we need to keep some land for airport expansions. Then net metering is a main constraint, because all the discoms are not allowing 100% of the contract demand, or more than that, or depending upon if I am having the land, then discom restrictions are there. So over and above this, if some permissions are there, then glint and glare analysis with respect to aviation field for the approaching pilot is a major constraint to us, because we need to keep that area open. There should not be any disturbance to the approaching aircraft. So all these constraints are there, but I am proud to say that in this report there were some 63 airports running on 100% renewable energy. But as on date, we have our 93 airports running on renewable energy, and we are planning to have another 5 to 6 airports on 100% RE by the end of June. So in this context, again, what we are doing is, we are using basically when new greenfield airports are constructed, so it is mandatorily we are going for GREA 5 rating, compliance of ECVC. Then we are mandating it to use the high efficiency motors, high efficiency chillers, having low global warming potential refrigerants. These measures we are taking, implementing. In addition to this, when we talk about this scope 3 emissions, see, in aviation, see, total emission, carbon emission of aviation is around 2.5 to 3%. Aviation is contributing. Out of that, 80 to 90% contribution is from aircrafts. So for us, it is a really important point to take care of, and we have taken care of, and we have implemented certain schemes, which is very highly technical schemes. One of the scheme is flexible use of airspace. Means sometimes some airfields are blocked, defense airfields are there, or sometimes bilateral doesn't permit to fly through Afghanistan or Pakistan. So in short, how to cut short the aircraft route, because route saved is carbon emission saved. So that we are following. Then other approach is continuous descent approach. Means once the air traffic controller is giving permission to pilot to approach for the landing, so in between there will not be disturbances. He will be allowed to continuously descend, thereby saving the fuel. Saving of fuel means there is no emission. Otherwise, in earlier, what was happening, aircraft has to maintain certain level, then go down, again maintain certain level, again go down. So these steps involved more fuel consumption. Then when we talk about when aircraft want to take off, so collaborative decision should be there. It means all the stakeholders responsible for giving clearance to the aircraft should come on the same platform. The thing should not be like that, yes, it is cleared for the aircraft to start the engine. It started emitting the carbon and aircraft turn is not coming up for takeoff. So a lot of systems we have implemented like this, and we are going to accept any advancement in any technology or anything which is beneficial to Airports Authority of India. We are welcoming that things. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Shinde, for giving a quick overview. And I think what I'm taking away that I think from an emissions reductions perspective, you are saying that currently the focus is scope 1 and 2, because that's what Airport Authority of India can control. Scope 3 comes within airlines, and I think it's a little harder, and the responsibility also resides somewhere else. You are also saying that the air side emissions is much more significant than the sort of like the land side, or I think where Airport Authority of India has the jurisdiction. One thing I have noticed that recently in some of the airports, that we are also trying to minimize that once the aircraft lands and comes to the jetway, then they should not be running on the aviation turbine fuel. And that's the technology that was also written, the fixed ground electric power, because it's like a small neighborhood that you are running if you are not supplying the green power, or I think that thing. And previously also there used to be mobile power units and generators which used to get connected with the airport. So a lot of that is getting eliminated. So these are some of the on the ground work that I think is also we are seeing starting to happen.
Yeah, we are working on it. It is called as fixed electrical energy.
Right, ground power.
Ground power unit and preconditioned air unit.
Preconditioned,
PCA.
Exactly, yes.
So basically, where is the hurdle? Earlier units used to work on diesel.
Right.
So it is giving a carbon emission.
Right.
But these both the systems, they work on 400 hertz frequency.
Right.
So you need to have a frequency converter and special powerhouse.
Right.
So we have identified certain airports for this. And we are going to change our slowly in a phased manner. We are planning for implementing FEGP and PCA.
Right. No, thank you. Another area, and maybe Vikram, I'll come to you. We know that all the newer airports, I think India has done a phenomenal job. Congratulations to AI. I think everybody is talking about the change and the upgrade that we are seeing in the airport infrastructure. And all these latest technology, I think are there. Of course, you talked about chillers and air conditioning system. We are also seeing like very advanced automated baggage handling systems and some other things, which not only makes it easier for the baggage to come out quickly, but also reduces, I think, the electrical cost of, I think, moving these things. So, Vikram, as the president of AIMA, you have about 1,100 companies who are members of AIMA. Many of them have the kind of technologies that airports typically uses, and both again, I think, in terms of the hardware and the software. So how do you see, I think, companies from AIMA partnering with maybe, I think, AI in the aviation sector, but broadly speaking, in all the sectors, I think, whether it's like healthcare, whether I think it's hospitality, whether it's office, whether it's data centers. So this whole issue of like the energy management, emissions management system, and I think how do you actually optimize it, and how do you actually continuously work towards reducing it? What kind of discussions happen? What is sort of like AIMA's position on this? We would be love to hear from you on this.
Thank you, Satish. It is always wonderful to be with you. So EMA, for people who don't know, is the Association of the Electrical and Electronic Manufacturers of India. We are about 78 or 77 years old organization, and out of the 1100 odd members, majority are MSMEs. We have got very large OEMs like Schneider, Siemens, etc., and very small companies who have a turnover of even maybe 50 lakhs or so. So it covers the entire range. We have about 17 product divisions ranging from transformers to newer areas like renewables, EV, etc. And we have, as a management of EMA, we have taken it on ourselves to promote all the members, even startups. We welcome startups to join in this journey with us, and we are giving them platforms like our exhibition event, which is called Elecrama. Maybe some of you have heard of it. It is today easily the world's largest event for our equipment, electrical and electronics. We will have it again. We had it in 2025. We have it every 2 years. Next will be in 2027 in Greater Noida. And just to give you there we have a separate area for startups, and all the startups are in the green space. Today there are very few startups who want to do maybe something other than green renewables or battery, etc. And that's a good sign, because this is an area where we need a maximum amount of innovation. So this is a journey not just limited to that Elecrama, but we have a throughout the year series of mentoring for the startups, where we call it Electraverse, and through that we are mentoring that. In fact, this month itself we have an event in Bombay, which is for the components as well as for building electricals. Yeah, so it's called Buildelec and Compelec. So I welcome everyone here to who can make it to Bombay, join us in Bombay for that. So that is coming to the exposure that we have. Yeah, and in any case, what I also want to tell you is that we encourage all our members to take up initiatives for moving towards more sustainability when they are making the products and doing their own businesses. Besides that, we also guide them that these are the new things that you should learn through technical programs, through skilling initiatives, through initiatives where we organize training programs for not just the users, but even the people who are designing the new equipment. Yeah? For example, along with IIT Kharagpur, we have launched a program to improve the reliability. So how to measure reliability and bring that as part of your manufacturing process. So these are some of the initiatives, and in any case, all our products are getting, I can say that throughout the different divisions, whether it's switchgear or transformers or motors, everything is today getting more and more intelligent. There are more sensors which are coming, as a result of which huge amount of data is getting generated, which is available to improve the efficiency, to see what actually can be done, and this is some area which we are seeing across the board. So the IoT and AI/ML is no longer a future for most of our products. I would say that they are already there. Yeah. So all the products do come with these facilities for measuring the parameters while it is in operation, and even doing predictive analysis in terms of what could go wrong. Yeah. So all these sort of things are no longer, as I said, no longer the future, but already we are building that up. Yeah.
Thank you, Vikram, for providing a little bit of an overview in terms of how EMA is helping sort of like its member companies and also getting the word out, I think, in terms of the different products and solutions that the companies want to showcase. And your point about that, a lot of it is, I think, data driven now. So a lot of digital information data is getting gathered. So IoT and other things are kind of like being imbibed at the design itself. And also, I think for different segments, this can be used. So thank you. I think
one thing I want to also add is that when we talk about a lot of equipment, very important for everybody is that they should be interoperable. Yeah, and that is where the need for standardization comes in. So as a body for manufacturers, we promote that there should be standards, and we we collaborate with, say, the BIS, which is the standardization body for India, so that on one side is that the users do not have a problem. Today they can have equipment from one manufacturer. If something goes wrong, they can buy from another manufacturer. On the other side, the manufacturer gets a lot of advantage. Once you have a standard, the UN based IEC standards across the world, then whatever an Indian manufacturer makes in India, he can sell anywhere in the world. So that is why, as a body, we also promote standardization. There are, of course, new areas which come up where there are some gaps in standards, and we provide opportunities to our members and to BIS to fill those gaps, so that at least the user side as well as the manufacturer side, there is uniformity in that aspect.
So thank you, I think, for highlighting the harmonization of standards, and I think the interoperability of, I think, the hardwares and the software platform, which sometimes does become a pain point from an end user perspective, I think, if this doesn't happen. So this is definitely a forward-looking initiative as well. Prasoon, I'll come to you. CLASP is, of course, well known for doing a lot of the policy-related work in the energy efficiencies, energy management space. And of course, standards and labeling is, I think, your flagship program across the global world and everything. My question to you is that I think we have heard about that as enterprises are moving towards, I think, their decarbonization goals, which is a combination of both renewable energy and energy efficiency. And there are companies which are continuously innovating to provide the solutions, I think, both in the form of like hardware, software platforms. What do you think can be done from a policy perspective, which will also start to give it a fairly strong push that I think more and more sort of metrics and indicators driven, I think disclosure or benchmarks, I think these things should happen so that people can compare, different organizations can compare and see, I think, where they are, and then they can take progressive steps towards accomplishing that. So how do you see the policy space, which is not very advanced actually in the enterprise energy management field, progressing, I think, in the future?
Sir, right on point. Good policy definitely makes execution easier. It sets a clear baseline, floor, expectation. It creates certain market pull, and it also reduces transaction cost, and in some ways reduces the unlocks the financing for it. Now, before I come to the specific details, I would like to start with a caveat that while I have not worked much on enterprise energy management, in the recent past, I have had the opportunity to work on equipment and appliances that are usually used by enterprises. And by these, I mean the chillers, motors, air compressor, and all those things. And this exact problem statement was given to me by someone else as well. And as we dug deeper into the trends and patterns that we see, so and Satish ji, as you rightly said, that India has started to work on enterprise equipment energy efficiency level. But yes, these are early starting days. We have efficiency levels for, say, chillers, motors. Maybe those are lacking slightly behind the global best, but nonetheless, we have and few other components. We also tried to look as to why the uptake of efficient component is not as much in India as compared to some other, advanced economies. And what we found essentially was that in other economies, there is a greater number of products or equipment, if I may say, are regulated for energy efficiency. Now, how this helps essentially is that if in a country there are efficiency levels defined for an equipment, the energy efficiency financing of those equipments is far more easier, and the enterprise is easily able to unlock the finance for purchasing these. So in some ways it streamlines the energy efficiency financing of those equipments. Now consider a similar situation in India. An enterprise or MSME is trying to go purchase a new boiler or a furnace, but it has not been rated for energy efficiency. And if it goes to a bank, they get a typical rate of interest for those things. Now consider this in a country B, where close to 70 or 80 equipments are regulated for energy efficiency, and then there is a minimum level below which product cannot be sold in the market, and then there are tiers. Now, if in country B, enterprise is going for, say, purchasing 10 such equipments, he can very easily avail efficiency loans for these. And in case of India, even if someone wants to go for an efficiency, it is a very process-centric, bespoke efficiency financing effort that has to be taken. But if that product is certified, you are clubbing 10 such products, motors, compressor, chillers, and all those things. Bank is immediately saying, oh, this is grade 5 in efficiency, let me finance it through energy efficiency mechanism. So, I'm trying to talk about the forthcoming things which could be considered for enhancing penetration and adoption of efficient components in India. So that is one of the trends that I have compared and seen globally, and I have a lot to speak, but at your discretion.
Okay. Thank you, Prasoon, for highlighting. And I think this is something that I think folks who work in the field, we talk about frictionless execution, where if you want to execute something, you are willing to put in the money also, but is it how much effort you have to put to actually get it planned, executed, and get the results finally? So, Mr. Shinde, I want to come back to you. There is a saying by one of the authors, like one author of Flow, Mikhail Csikszentmihalyi, and he says that generating electricity is a very, very important, I think, endeavor. But using that generated energy intelligently and efficiently is equally, if not more important than generating energy. And I think on this point, I think we always say that, hey, renewable energy, energy efficiency, you also highlighted, I think, the aspects of both the things. And one of the things that we see that if you want to do renewable energy, it seems easier, right? Because I think you have solar, you have wind, there are very clear sort of like tenders and vendors and others. I think you can measure exactly how much you are generating and others. When it comes to energy efficiency, energy management, enterprise, it looks like you have to work on 10 different things to get, I think, the final result that. So my question to you is that, as I think since you look after the entire Airport Authority of India, when you say that, okay, I need to track my energy consumption, I need to track my emissions intensity, I need to go to all the individual airports to get the data and everything, what are the bottlenecks? What are the challenges? Prasoon talked about financing, I think, some of these things. So if you don't have the capex, can you easily get, I think, the financing? That's only one aspect of it. But what are some of those, I think, aspects that your organization seem to struggle? And I think based on your sort of response, I'm going to come to Vikram. Because I think one piece that I'm also trying to look at, that how easy things are happening between the suppliers and the receiver, I think, of the services and the products. And I think, is there scope for improvement there?
Yeah, definitely there is a scope for improvement. As far as AI is concerned, we are having introduced this all these building management systems in all the airport projects. Nowadays, we are making it mandatory. And regarding enterprises energy management system, basic requirement is, he has rightly pointed out, the system should be, what difficulty we are facing is system should be open protocol. There should not be a need of seeking a source code from a manufacturer to integrate the system of equipment from B manufacturer. So encashment of situation or taking undue advantage in absence of open protocol, this is one of the important. So when I would like to request Prasoon for when he is working for BE, some sort of strong legal framework with respect to this source code or open protocol. If you are able to put it in the legal framework, is a good thing, because that is the main thing we are facing in Airports Authority of India in our already installed system. Over and above this, coordination with the vendor. Vendor is sitting at Delhi, problem is faced at, say, suppose Calicut Airport. So the situation is, the person who is deputed at Calicut Airport may not be having that much in-depth knowledge of rectifying the issue at that point. So some sort of coordination and time lag, this time overrun is there. So these are very, means minor, this is issue, very minor issue, but we are facing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
No, thank you, Professor, no, Mr. Shinde. And I think, Vikram, you talked about your focus at AIMA of creating like standard interoperability. I think some of the things that Mr. Shinde is talking about, I think maybe I think you are thinking about the input and the output should be very, very transparent. I think in terms of what you are getting, source code could be proprietary, but as long as I think that information is being made available in a very transparent manner. And so I think that's one thing. Maybe I'll come back to you if you can probably put a little bit more light into this thing, that I think how some of these things can be done, because I'm sure that these kind of issues is not just faced by AI, but I think generally, I think end use customers are facing about it. And then the other piece you also mentioned about is skilling and training. And what I think Mr. Shinde is talking about, that as Indian aviation sector is expanding and it is going into smaller cities and towns, then how do you ensure that you have the electricians, you have the system operators, I think, whether they can operate the switch gears and the transformers and the motors, I think, in the manner, and commission these products, I think, quickly, or software platforms as well. So how do you think some of these things can be done in a collaborative manner between the consumer and the suppliers?
No, firstly, of course, as I said earlier, standards are something which every manufacturer would like that they should be there. Yeah, nobody wants that there should be no standard. But if there are no standards, then the manufacturer will give whatever is the most optimized, technically, a suitable solution that they have created. This is how it has always been. In the last 40 years of my journey, I have seen various equipment, how there were no standards, then every manufacturer had their own standard, but eventually all got together, they built a standard, and then most of the problems were solved. So that is one aspect as far as standards is concerned. Now, second aspect is about the issues which are faced. I fully agree that there has to be ownership of the equipment, both from the supplier as well as from the user. the contracts have to be created in such a way that there is interest left for the supplier once they have delivered the equipment also. If there is no interest left for the supplier after delivering the equipment, the supplier will naturally look for some other business. That is how things work. That is how you take example of anything. I mean, if you talking, sir, you are from aviation sector. Now a Boeing aircraft, unless the Boeing has some interest in running business out of it, why will they take care? They will not provide their engineers, or they will not provide their spare parts in time, etc., etc., etc. So similarly, if there is longevity and continuity of engagement with equipment manufacturer as well as user, there will be interest from both sides and they will continue to serve. That is the second part. Now the third part is the skilling you said. Now I don't know about aviation, sorry, but I have worked with power utilities. Why is it that a power utility, say BSES, we are sitting here, they are able to use the same software, same system which has been delivered by the same engineer from the same OEM, whereas maybe some state discom sitting here, they are not even using 1% of that system's capability, and they blame everything on the vendor. So the same OEM, same solution, same engineer who was implemented in both the sides, but there will be a difference in the way it has been used and the way there are problems, and the interest of the OEM will also be limited. So it is not just, my point is that skills and ownership of the system by the user who is there, if it is not there, then there will be problems and there will be issues which will get into contractual things. Coming to source code, no manufacturer will ever like to give their source code. And even if we give source code, there is nothing that user can do with that source code. There has been cases where on gunpoint manufacturers were forced to give source code and they were given, but not even 1% or anything, nobody used that source code also. So I don't think using source code or giving source code will solve any problem. The issue is every manufacturer, whatever smallest manufacturer to the largest OEM, everybody wants that the product that they have delivered should be used to the maximum. Yeah, they will, and no manufacturer wants to supply a product which does not fulfill whatever were the guaranteed conditions or even what it was envisaged to do. I have customers, power utilities, who I have seen have used the system, I would say 200% of its capability. Yeah, and I have seen customers who have not even used 2% of that capability. So it is the same supplier, same engineer who goes to both the sites, and same design, everything, even the hardware which is used is same, but there is a difference in the way it is used. So this gap has to reduce, So how can it reduce is once the user organization believes that yes, we can make it work, and we can make it work by owning that, yes, we will put whatever are the technical resources that are needed, whatever are the discoms. I can tell you, very clearly, the people who work in automation system in government discoms are the worst amongst the discom. Yeah, it has changed now over some years, but they were always sending the people who could do nothing to be sent to automation. How will that automation complicate the complex system work if the people, they have no interest and their capabilities are also questioned? Whereas a private discom like BSES or Tata Power, they select who is the best person and they should be assigned to that task. They are even willing to create a new cadre, because they say we cannot meet the requirements. So they will create a new cadre and find the right people who have been with the right skills. So every manufacturer wants its equipment to work successfully, and every manufacturer is willing to go to train, to do test, whatever it takes, to the entire life cycle. Yeah.
Thank you. So I think thank you, Mr. Shinde, and thank you, Vikram, for I think just putting your perspectives. And we know that the solution will only come when I think the two sides understand. I think what I think the other is thinking, and they both have a common interest in I think reaching a solution that works both for them. So thanks for that. Prasoon, I would like to go to the audience also for maybe 2-3 questions. One very quick sort of like question for you. Government of India is thinking about disclosing performance of large buildings through a scheme. So similar to I think what has been happening in PAT, they are saying that rather than just limiting it to segment wise, they are saying that maybe through connected load. I think if it is something is 500 kilowatt connected or 600 kVA more, then they need to disclose, I think, on a defined intensity. It could be EPI, it could be, I think, as kilowatt hour per passenger or kilowatt hour per bed. So whatever the appropriate metric may be, I think this is something. Do you think this kind of a scheme is going to help, I think, in terms of pushing this whole enterprise energy management piece and also adoption of the right technology that would enable this kind of disclosure?
So, sir, surely, I mean, the first step towards solving any problem is to recognize the problem. And if there is a mandate to enterprises to collect energy data, maybe analyze it and then disclose, probably you are creating a larger data set against which they themselves can benchmark or government can benchmark. So yes, that would be a good first step towards recognizing that where we stand and then take appropriate measures. I would also very briefly, while we get comment on the interoperability problem. So in the recent past, I too have been looking at this problem, but from the household appliances perspective. And I agree with sir as well that while appliances or equipment can have a proprietary source code restricted to themselves, but probably we need a larger set of standards which defines what a smart appliance or equipment should be able to communicate with other smart equipment or appliance. The easiest example is that while we are trying to introduce or install newer smart meters in households, and even if you have IoT enabled AC, fridge, refrigerator, those are not able to communicate with that smart meter. Now, there is a Ministry of Powers committee which is right now looking at this problem, and the core philosophical approach that people are trying to discuss and take this ahead is that we need to define 4 smart parameters. Define few smart parameters. It should be able to respond to a query on its energy consumption state, share certain information parameter B, C, and D, and manufacturers should be allowed freedom to do their own proprietary code, but they should be following an open platform or cross-platform parameters against which they can exchange information. I'm happy to share that there is a global standard, I'm forgetting the name, but IEC is right now trying to come up with certain standards and guidelines to define this. The Ministry of Powers Committee is also reviewing all those IEC, Japanese, Econet, and all various other standards, and then trying to distill best practices which could be adopted in India. So very relevant problem and timely problem.
Thank you, Prasoon. Yeah.
I think I would like to add, the Ministry of Power is also working on something which is called in India Energy Stack.
Yes,
So that is something which will also, the aim is that create something like a UPI, so which will help, exchange of data. So IMA is working very closely. I am on the task force steering committee, and every month we are pushing that we will have a pilot probably very soon, which will be ready.
So thank you, Prasoon, thank you, Vikram. I think this issue of like how the communication happens across devices and meters, and how do they announce their state, and how much energy they are consuming, how much peak demand they are sort of consuming, all this is going to be very, very helpful. So maybe I think we have time for a few questions. Yes, please announce your name and be very, very specific with your questions so that we can address as many questions as we can. Thank you.
Thanks for opportunity. I am Dinesh Rewari. I am working as an advisor to the MSMEs manufacturers in Panipat who are into textile sector. And energy efficiency is very much a concern for them because they export to European Union and upcoming European Union standards. They need not only proper efficiency, but they need proper disclosure of the carbon footprints in the manufacturing of the textile product. So my two questions are here. Number one, say when we talk about the say motors which are rated for energy efficiency, when they, of course the industrial equipments they got defective and they are repaired. My query is that when an energy efficient motor is repaired, then what are the means to see that after repair it retains the same energy efficiency? So what are the equipments which are going to rewind or repair the motors? What about the standards of those repairing equipments and the skills?
Okay.
Number one, this is my question, and number two, that as I have told you that European Union is going to seek the carbon footprints, footprints in a particular product. So there has to be an embedded carbon mark in a product. So when a manufacturer use equipments like motors and all that, then is there any mean by which this corporate sustainability reporting directives, which are the EU norms, standards which are going to be implemented? So as these equipments are used, say motors is used, then in a carbon footprint of a product, digital product passport, the carbon footprints can be embedded in that product. Is there any mean for
Okay.
such embedding of such facilitating the carbon footprint accountability of a product? Thank you.
Maybe the second question is a very loaded question, so we can take it offline. But maybe the first question, I think even equipment is repaired, what are the mechanisms through which energy efficiency levels can be certified or verified? I don't know, Prasoon or Vikram, you want to have any comments on that?
Sir, I won't be able to talk about rewinding,
Mhm.
but I can talk about motor efficiency.
Right. So maybe
I think I think if it is say when we talk about any government laboratory or NABL approved labs, such type of some if government organizations are there which take care of such issues, and if what was the rating of the motor IE1, IE2, IE3, what were the specifications? And after repairing, if any government lab is able to test and recertify, that can be a good solution to its
Sir,
question.
I think theoretically it's okay, but for anybody to send, I think a motor for like a few days or weeks, and these test labs are always backlogged. One suggestion, and I think AEEE pushes for this, that with all the advent on IoT and smart metering and everything, we feel that at least the power consumption of, I think, these big equipment, whether these are motors or whether these are sort of air conditioners or others, that should be displayed, I think, on the equipment itself. And it's not a very expensive technology, because I think smart metering technology can do this. So I don't know if there will be a standard, I think, which will do, but at least the user can immediately see that, okay, before repair, for typical loading conditions, what was sort of like the electrical draw. And then after, I think it is repaired, what is the electrical draw. So maybe I think this is something, Vikram, I would say that I have been pushing for this, and I think there is resistance on this. But I think this could be a very useful thing from a consumer perspective to get, I think, some trust and confidence that, yes, I think this is transparent, the technology is available, and I think we can see this.
Generally, on the nameplate of any such equipment, power rating, current drawn, everything is mentioned.
But I'm saying that dynamically, it should be dynamically shown on the equipment that, okay, 1 kilowatt, 1.1 kilowatt, 900 watt. I think
Sir is right that nameplate rating is made available once it comes from the OEM's shop floor. But I think the gentleman's issue is more that it has got rewound. Yeah, after repair, what is the loss? Yeah, in the terms of that.
So maybe while I'm not very confident, but BIS may have a guideline on motor rewinding. That is one. Maybe I'll connect with you. I'll confirm with BIS once and then try to give that information to you. And given that we are talking about the larger motors, there is another international trend I must highlight here is that the few of the other more advanced and industrial nations are right now trying to move from component to system level. What that means is in India, if we are trying to make capex move from IE2 to I3, the probable energy efficiency gains are going to be around 2%. But if you look at the whole system, club that motor with VSD, the efficiency gains, even if you are stuck at I2 but plug in the VSD and look at the whole system, the efficiency gains could be as high as 20%. So I think this should be highlighted here, that it's not just the incremental, but the systems approach that could be
Thanks, Prasoon. I think I am being
Anyway,
asked to wrap up.
I will give it to Guinea for this problem. Take this with our rotating machine division. Huh?
Right. Okay. I think we are being asked to wrap up. Sorry about that. But yeah, so thank you, I think, to all the panelists for the wonderful interventions. And let's put our hands together for, I think.
Thank you to our panelists for an insightful session. Now I would request all the speakers to come forward for a group photograph. Thank you.